Welcome to another installment of my ARK Survival Evolved Dinosaur Accuracy Review series, where we will be taking a look at the individual dinosaurs from ARK and comparing them to their closest real-life counterparts, scoring them solely on accuracy and ranking them on a tier list accordingly. You'll hear me say this a lot, but if you haven't seen the first episode on the Raptor, please go watch that episode first, as how I will be scoring and ranking each dinosaur is all explained there. Today, we'll be taking a look at perhaps one of ARK's most infamous dinosaurs, the apex predator of the island, the big baddie daddy, the Giganotosaurus. Giga who? The Giganotosaurus was one of the largest theropod dinosaurs and lived during the late Cretaceous period. In ARK, it can be found rarely atop the island's mountain peaks, a pants-shooting surprise for anyone doing their medal runs. While commonly it is simply referred to as the Giga, the full name of ARK species is Giganotosaurus furiosa, meaning it is closely related to the real-life species Giganotosaurus carolini linguini ulevigini. It's so fucking stupid. It's just the carolini part. And as usual, because speaking is difficult, for the rest of the video I'll be using the nickname of the dinosaur, so for the rest of the video I'll be referring to it as the Giga. So how does ARK's version hold up in terms of accuracy? Let's find out. We'll start with the positives. The overall build looks good enough. The general shape of the body and leg proportions seem about right. The arms are maybe a little bit too long. They weren't quite T-Rex small, but maybe not quite this length, but it's not so bad, so I won't knock any points off for that. The skull shape is fine, not perfect, but we'll come back to that. The teeth maybe need to be more blade-like. These guys were definitely more focused on slicing through flesh opposed to crushing bone. Basically a mouthful of steak knives. But it's in the right ballpark. The neck is the correct shape as the head comes almost directly horizontally out of the body. And well, that's about it. For better or worse, the Giga's kind of bland design means I don't have a whole lot to say, so let's move on to the negatives. For the negatives, we'll go from least offensive to full-on triggering. To start with, the skull shape is ever so slightly off. The Giga had a more thinner but taller skull that was quite large in comparison to its body. The neck could also be a bit thinner, and while this is a little controversial, there should be lips covering the teeth. 3 episodes in and I'm already sounding like a broken record, but the hands are once again pronated. Dinos couldn't rotate their wrists in this way without breaking them. The palms should be facing towards each other. I've briefly mentioned the term shrink wrapping before in these videos, and the Giga is a good example of this. Or maybe a bad example because it shouldn't be there in the first place. While the body is well fleshed out, you can clearly see the holes in the skull of the Giga. The large one above the jaw is the antorbital fenestra, and you can also see the enlarged eye socket or orbit. These would not be visible in real life unless the animal was starving to death. And I'll finally address the elephant in the room, or in the Giga's case, the equivalent to several elephants in the room. It's enormous. It's kaiju scale. This thing is fucking huge. The Giga's claim to fame is being the largest theropod dinosaur, and specifically being larger than T-Rex. You see this reference in all sorts of dinosaur media? Well, sorry Giga fans, this just isn't the case. Firstly, when defining biggest, it means the mass of the animal, so not length or height. The blue whale is the largest animal to ever live, not because it was the longest or tallest, but because it was the heaviest. While it's still a matter of debate, on average the Giga and Rex were about the same length of about 12 meters. It's entirely possible that some Giga specimens were longer than T-Rex, but again, length does not mean larger. If that were the metric used, then the Giga still wouldn't be the largest theropod, as that would go to Spinosaurus at about 14 meters. Weight estimates of the Giga range from about 4 to 6 tons, while the thick Rex comes in at a colossal 8 tons. It was just a more heavily built animal despite the similar lengths, so no, the Giga was not bigger than T-Rex. ARK blows this out of the water by having the Giga at least twice the size of the Rex. It dwarfs just about everything, even comparing to a Brontosaurus in size, it's just insane. Honestly, this isn't a tough one. I'm sorry to the Giga fans, I'm not going to say there isn't areas to compliment, but they are nowhere near strong enough to make up for the common mistakes such as broken wrists, shrink wrapping, and in the Giga's case specifically, its ludicrously exaggerated size. For design, I'm giving the Giga a 1 out of 7. For the Giga, there isn't a whole lot to say about behaviour. It's got the basic carnivore AI of ARK. It lacks many special features. It's got the rage meter, but I see this more as a gameplay mechanic. Now, for dinosaurs like this that I cover, I think a fair 1.5 out of 3 is a fair score, as there are neither behaviours to compliment or critique. But there is one thing I want to mention with the Giga. I'm sorry for anyone that didn't know this, but I'm about to ruin your childhood. Dinosaurs couldn't roar. They lacked the larynx or voice box of mammals. Most dinosaur sounds you hear in media have some sort of origin from mammals like lions or elephants. Obviously not good modern day comparisons. That's not to say they didn't make any sounds, but certainly not these loud roars. For that, I'm going to have to subtract half a point, so for behaviour, I'm giving the Giga a 1 out of 3. So, I don't know if this is going to be a controversial score or not. I know there are a lot of Giga fans out there, and haters, but with a pretty abysmal total score of 2 out of 10, Giga takes our current lowest place on the tier list with a D. So what do you guys think about this result? Do you agree, disagree, is there anything I missed? Let me know in the comments below, and what dino should I cover next?